Some people will fall away not because you push them, but because proximity to your power forces them to confront their own potential, and not everyone is ready for that confrontation. This isn't rejection. This is natural selection. The circle gets smaller as the crown gets heavier. But the ones who remain, the ones who can stand in your presence without shrinking, those are your real tribe. Those are the ones who see your transformation not as a threat, but as inspiration. Those are the ones who understand that your rise doesn't diminish them. It elevates them. Those are the ones worthy of witnessing what you're about to become next. This isolation isn't loneliness. It's sacred space. It's the buffer zone between you and energies that would try to dilute your power. It's the margin that allows you to maintain your frequency without interference. You're not alone because people abandoned you. You're selective because your energy is too valuable to waste on connections that drain rather than sustain. You've learned the difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone is a choice. Being lonely was a lie they told you to make you settle for less than you deserve. Because yes, there's a next. This transformation you've undergone isn't the final form. It's just the foundation for something even more magnificent. You're not done evolving. You're not done expanding. What you've become is impressive, but it's nothing compared to what you're becoming. The universe doesn't create chosen ones to reach a plateau. It creates them to keep climbing until they touch stars that haven't been named yet. Each day you wake up, you're a more refined version than you were yesterday. Each challenge you face adds another layer to your capability. Each victory you claim expands the territory of what's possible. You're not just growing, you're exponentially expanding. You're not just learning, you're downloading cosmic intelligence. You're not just evolving, you're setting the template for a new kind of human existence. 10th, let's talk about the legacy you're creating. Not the legacy they'll write about in books, though they will. Not the legacy they'll speak about in whispers, though they must. The legacy that matters is the one being written in the quantum field right now. Every choice you make is adding to a story that transcends time. Every stand you take is creating ripples that will be felt by generations you'll never meet. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're living for every chosen one who needs proof that the darkness ends. You're living for every soul that needs evidence that transformation is possible. You're living for every person who's been told they're too much, too intense, too different to matter. Your existence is their permission slip to stop playing small. The legacy you're building isn't made of monuments or money. It's made of moments where you chose power over pity. It's constructed from decisions where you chose expansion over expectation. It's built from every time you refuse to shrink, refuse to apologize for your magnitude, refuse to dim your light because it hurt their eyes. This legacy exists in the quantum field as a template, a blueprint that others can access when they're ready to transform. This legacy isn't built on what you accumulated. It's built on what you survived. It's built on what you transformed. It's built on your refusal to let your story end where they thought it would. Every day you wake up and choose to operate in this power. You're adding another chapter to a testament that says the broken can become unbreakable. The defeated can become undefeatable. The buried can become the blueprint. Your legacy is alive. It breathes through every person who sees you and remembers their own power. It pulses through every soul that witnesses your transformation and decides to begin their own. It flows through every moment where someone chooses to fight instead of flee because they saw you do it first. You're not just leaving a legacy, you're living one. Every breath you take in this power adds another verse to the song of transformation that will echo through eternity. 11th, recognize the war that's still being waged, not against you, but for you. The universe is conspiring in your favor. Now, every door that closes is redirecting you to a portal. Every no is clearing space for a cosmic yes. Every obstacle is a disguised opportunity for you to demonstrate the power you've cultivated. The war isn't against your enemies. The war is against any version of you that would settle for less than total domination of your own destiny. Your enemies have become your unwitting allies. Their resistance strengthens your resolve. Their doubt fuels your determination. Their fear feeds your power. They don't realize that every move they make against you only confirms what you've become. Every whisper about you spreads your legend. Every attempt to diminish you amplifies your presence. They become a marketing team for your transformation, and they don't even know it. The universe has turned the entire game in your favor. What they meant to harm you has become your strength. What they used to hold you back has become your launching pad. What they designed to destroy you has become the very thing that distinguishes you. You're playing chess while they're playing checkers. But more than that, you're playing on a board they can't even see, with pieces they don't know exist, following rules written in dimensions they can't access. The battlefield has shifted from external to eternal. You're not fighting for acceptance anymore. You're fighting for expansion. You're not fighting to belong. You're fighting to become. Every day is another opportunity to push the boundaries of what's possible. When someone refuses to be contained by others' limitations, every moment is another chance to demonstrate that chosen ones don't follow paths, they create them. This war is already won. It was won the moment you decided to transform instead of just survive. It was won the moment you chose to use your pain as power instead of poison. It was won the moment you stopped asking, "Why me?" and started declaring, "Watch me." The battles you're fighting now aren't for victory. They're victory laps. They're demonstrations. They're exhibitions of what happens when someone refuses to stay down. 12th, let's talk about the energy you emit. Now, it's not just different. It's otherworldly. People feel you before you enter rooms. Animals respond to you differently. Children stare at you with recognition they can't explain. You're broadcasting on frequencies that bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to the soul. You've become a tuning fork for transformation, and everyone in your vicinity either rises to match your frequency or retreats from the intensity of it. This energy isn't something you're doing. It's something you're being. It's the natural emanation of someone who's been rebuilt at the molecular level. It's the radiation of someone who's nuclear in their power. It's the magnetism of someone who's aligned with forces that most people only read about in ancient texts. You don't have to try to impact people. Selected one. Your broadcast network is now the surveillance state they created to keep you in check. Right now, they can feel the chill crawling up their spine. It isn't paranoid. That's when you realize that all of the hidden rooms you were shut out of suddenly become visible. They constructed barriers to keep you quiet, but now they are amplifiers. They are now recording their fall in real time using the same technology that they use to track your movements. Last night, there was a change in the cosmic code. The algorithms they used as a weapon to silence you began to operate in reverse. Every discussion that was concealed, every deleted communication, and every backstage betrayal that they believed had been buried in digital graves is now coming to light. The secret group discussions in which they planned your demise are making their way into the public eye. Not via hacking, nor through retaliation, not through divine intervention masquerading as technical issues. Karma learned how to upload, and the cosmos got Wi-Fi. With nervous fingers, they are now monitoring their phones, reloading their feeds every 30 seconds, and keeping an eye on their follower accounts like a heart monitor, because they sense it in their gut. Every screen they touch now reflects the change, the exposure, and the unavoidable realization that their whole empire was founded on stolen light. Your light, the same light they attempted to extinguish. This is no longer about vindication. This goes beyond individual justice. They never took you into account in their strategy talks. A living truth algorithm. With each falsehood they disseminated about you, a wave of revelation followed. They created an equal and opposite force of clarity for each false story they promoted. There is no untruth in physics. Energy never forgets. Additionally, once woken, awareness does not return to sleep. Do you recall being labeled delusional? They were so certain of their gaslighting, so certain that repetition would become reality, that they congregated in their little groups, giggling at your alleged instability. This is what they overlooked, however. Lies can never equal the frequency of truth. It has a vibrational frequency that pierces all layers of deceit. And you, the one selected, turned into a tuning fork for that particular frequency. They're now plagued by the meetings they had without you. Strategic meetings where they calculated the precise pressure points to break you and sketched out your demise. Casting directors, a buddy who gathers information, a person who casts doubt on your trustworthiness, and a person who gradually ruins professional connections are just a few of the roles they allocated. While you were playing checkers, they believed they were playing chess, but you weren't really playing. Their games don't exist in the realm you were climbing to. The current exposure is not arbitrary. It's coordinated and synchronized by forces they don't trust. You were working in dimensions they couldn't even see while they were playing three-dimensional chess. All the prayers you said in the shadows. Each and every tear shed while no one was around. This is the culmination of every instance in which you put integrity ahead of retaliation. Their masks are melting in the blaze of their own lights at this lovely, terrible moment. Those evenings when you felt their energy assaulting you from all across the city and couldn't sleep. You didn't even comprehend the spiritual battle that left you fatigued when you got up in the morning. Those inexplicable panic attacks that strike at precisely 3 p.m. daily. You didn't imagine that. Their planned ritual against you is that. They had you on their calendar, literally. Destroy the selected one in the recurring meeting. However, all of the arrows they fired at you in the spiritual world are now reversing course in midair. Silence, they believed, was your weakness. They thought you were giving up because you were restrained. They thought you had one when you didn't publicly defend yourself, but you weren't quiet. All of the interactions in the quantum field were being downloaded, recorded, and stored. For proof, not retaliation. Through your mind, the world was making notes. And now those notes, which do not have your fingerprints, are being disseminated all over the world. Their prosecutor is the technology they are so proud to have mastered. In cosmic awareness, every email they sent about you is preserved. The Akashic records include every text message they erased. In the spiritual world, every voice note they believed had vanished is playing again. Their meticulously erased digital imprint has been retained in dimensions they are unaware of. Now watch as they rush to dominate the story. All around us, there are sudden spiritual awakenings. All platforms announce healing journeys. Publicists write accountability pieces. Authenticity, however, cannot be created after the fact. When the harm was deliberate, grace is not retroactive. The same individuals who use social media as a weapon against you are now engulfed by its algorithms. They are now spending thousands of dollars on reputation management companies to improve their online visibility. However, how can anything be removed from the collective mind? How can energy that has already been received be unended? How do you take back prayers for someone's destruction that the cosmos has already heard? They are attempting to solve cosmic issues with earthly remedies. Isn't that irony delicious? The system that is now breaking them down was built by them. Now, every tracking pixel they utilize to keep tabs on you is also keeping tabs on them. Every piece of information they gathered to forecast your actions is now forecasting their demise. Their damage is being captured in high definition by the monitoring system they praised. Do you recall the time they took screenshots of everything you did, documenting your alleged faults and creating a case file? Their hate was well-organized, methodical, and comprehensive. They gathered information about you via shared drives, folders, and subcategories. However, the same compulsive paperwork forged a vibrant trail that is now leading investigators directly back to them. However, this is more than just technology. It's about dynamic justice. Your absence now haunts every room they kept you out of. What's lacking reverberates in every discussion where they minimized your contribution. Since energy doesn't lie, and everyone can sense the hole where your genuine presence should have been, every success they claim without giving you credit seems hollow. They no longer feel the same at the seminars they attend. There is an odd tension in the networking gatherings. They used to control professional environments with confidence, but now that everyone can perceive it, they feel like crime scenes. Betrayal's energetic residue, the unseen taint of credit theft. Your contribution's shadow looms over their talks. In an attempt to determine how quickly everything went wrong, they're now holding conferences for damage control, crisis management, and emergency meetings. However, they're not searching in the right place. When the onslaught is coming from above, from realms they ridiculed you for believing in, and from dimensions they rejected as fiction, they're still thinking horizontally. They can't get support from the consultants they're employing. Furthermore, they lack the language necessary to comprehend what is occurring to them. The interesting thing is that you are no longer even making an effort. Direct confrontation is no longer necessary. Their systems are malfunctioning only because of your presence at this frequency. Their illusions are exhibiting interference patterns due to your presence and power. You're not required to reveal them. You're getting it from reality. Promote this video so that additional people who are selected like you may discover it if its message resonates with you. They wake up in terror every morning while you wake up calmly. You get a good night's sleep every night while they are up planning. Their suffering intensifies with each time you spend in thankfulness. Not because the disparity between your frequencies has become so bad that you're putting out negative energy. Their penalty is your tranquility. Their judgment is your delight. Their sentencing is your achievement. When someone who is supposed to be destroyed doesn't break, this is what occurs. When a scapegoat turns into a signal tower, the suffering they cause becomes your source of strength. Your incubation period was the time of seclusion they imposed. Because you were beyond the need for human acceptance, the reputation they attempted to ruin became meaningless. They didn't account for the defenses around you. Not human defenders, not attorneys, nor bodyguards. Ancient powers that have been protecting your family for many generations. Ancestral ghosts that their assaults triggered. All sins were recorded by divine intelligence. During those difficult times, you were never by yourself. Invisible soldiers were taking notes all around you. Observe how your feelings have changed from the beginning of this. That burden you bore is gone. That intense want to be understood and eliminated. The rage that once consumed you changed into something else completely. Not forgetting, not forgiving. Something stronger. Clarity about your objective, coupled with a lack of concern for their life. The change took time to occur. The substance was alchemical. They transformed every insult they threw at you into knowledge. Every falsehood they disseminated about you was transformed into wisdom. They turned every strike they made on you into spiritual armor. You were really using their animosity as a shield. Now, without exerting any effort, they're leveraging their own energy against them. They sense this change in you, and it frightens them because an adversary who seeks justice can be placated, and an adversary who seeks retribution can be bargained with. However, someone who no longer lives in the same energy world, someone who has transcended the whole paradigm, that poses an existential risk to all of their creations. Their current dreams are not coincidental. In such dreams, you simply stand there gleaming and unfazed by their fear, seemingly unthreatening. Those dreams in which their secrets are read out loud in public. Those recurrent dreams in which they are transparent and visible to everybody. Your psychic assault isn't that. Their own awareness is warning them of what is about to happen. There is more to the exposure than simply previous behavior. It has to do with current energy. There is now a sense of unease among everyone who interacts with them. A glitch in their matrix, a distortion in their field. People withdraw for unknown reasons. Suddenly, opportunities that seemed assured vanish. Inexplicably, connections that seem solid break. Because truth has its own immune system, it's not because you're doing anything. When someone new enters their lives, they can smell the treachery. In their handshake, new acquaintances sense the resonance of deceit. Potential partners can tell how often they grin dishonestly. Now, like a scarlet letter that only souls can read, they bear the energy signature of what they did to you, stamped and branded by their own acts. They didn't anticipate this aspect. They readied themselves for combat. They readied themselves for legal matters. They readied themselves for a catastrophe in public relations. However, they failed to plan for energetic bankruptcy. They were not prepared for the revocation of their spiritual credit. They were not ready to be labeled as untrustworthy narrators by the cosmos itself. They had been deserted by their spiritual leaders. They were cautioned not to assault you by the same guides. the same mentors who attempted to lead them in the direction of their own recovery. They were given signals to halt by the same guides. They disregarded every warning, every sign imploring them to stop, and every dream that illustrated the repercussions. They are now spiritually isolated in a manner that cannot be resolved by treatment. They are reversing all of their spells. All of their rituals are inverted. All of the energy they gave you is coming back to the sender with interest, not because you turned into the mirror and are thus shielded. Furthermore, mirrors don't absorb. They're reflective. They display reality. They make visible what is underneath the projection. More intriguing is the witchcraft they used against you. They literally commissioned rituals to obstruct your prosperity, employed practitioners to tie your success, paid individuals to fight against you spiritually, and invested money in your spiritual devastation. But here's what they didn't know about assaulting someone they've selected. Every misfortune turns into a gift. Every restraint turns into a release. Each attack turns into an activation. The most lovely aspect of this exposure is how worldwide it is. It extends beyond your geographical place. It extends beyond the people in your social circle. The discovery is taking place in dimensions you aren't even aware of, in languages you don't know, and in nations you haven't been to. Because heavenly justice disregards human limits when it operates. Someone just dreamed about what they did to you in Tokyo. A download of your actual tale was just sent to a stranger in London. Your vindication is captured in a picture drawn by a youngster in Brazil. Like wildfire on parched grass, the truth is sweeping across the collective consciousness. Pure awareness perceiving pure truth is all that is needed. No advertising or algorithm. Dreams regarding the truth are occurring. Downloads of the actual events are being sent to random individuals. The hidden links are being exposed via synchronicities. Reality itself is rearranging itself to accommodate your discovery. You linked with reality, not because you're unique, and truth becomes indisputable when it is completely embodied. It's not a coincidence that you keep seeing these numerical patterns. 111, 222, and 333 are showing up everywhere. The universe actually shows you in real time that the software is operating via those confirmation codes and mainframe downloads. The sequence is running. The realization is being processed. Each angel number represents an additional percentage point in their exposure upload. They are attempting to determine who is responsible for this, who is directing the publicity, and who is pulling the strings. They are tracing IP addresses, checking into leaks, and searching for human agents, but they are searching in the wrong dimension. This orchestration is not human. Cosmic correction is what this is. Universal rebalancing is what this is. When someone attempts to bury divine purpose, this is the result. Nothing is being discovered by the private detectives they have engaged. They are hitting roadblocks with the hackers they have hired. The hack isn't technical, which has left the security specialists they've consulted perplexed. It has dimensions. Their gadgets are not the source of the leak. It originates in their own minds. They are really transmitting their guilt on frequencies that are only audible to truth seekers. Now, the time frame is moving more quickly. Weeks are being spent on what should have taken years. What often calls for attorneys is occurring via coincidence. In most cases, intuition reveals what need proof. Since this isn't a typical circumstance, the standard guidelines don't apply. You're not your typical self. You have been selected, and the laws that apply to selected ones are different. Around them, the acceleration is distorting time. Weeks seem to stretch into days. Days seem to stretch into hours. Hours seem to stretch into minutes. Under the strain, they are aging quickly. Overnight, gray hairs appeared. Their faces were getting deeper lines. The weight of their own deceit is actually draining their life essence. You're reversing your age in the meanwhile. Become younger, more energetic, and more radiant every day. Right now, feel that strength rushing through you. Ego isn't that. Alignment is that. When every cell in your body knows you are precisely where you should be, that's how it feels. Doing just what you were intended to accomplish. Becoming the person you were meant to be. You must stop shrinking, fading, and apologizing for your frequent absences. Your DNA is really altering. Dormant codes were triggered by the assaults. Genetic improvements resulted from the treachery. Evolutionary processes began when the destructive attempt was made. Before this incident, you were a different species. It's absolutely impossible for them to hurt you now that you've evolved. Existing in a realm they cannot access, operating at a frequency they cannot achieve. They want your exposure to make you feel bad. They want you to be held accountable for their failure. However, you did not cause this circumstance. You just quit giving them the illusion. You no longer took part in their performance. You ceased to support their interpretation of reality. And their whole system is breaking down if you don't comply. They are attempting to transfer their own guilt onto you. All of their charges are confessions. 3 fingers are pointing back at them for each finger they point. In reality, every tale they tell about your alleged transgressions is a thorough account of their own misdeeds. As they attempt to place the blame on you, they are really betraying themselves. This is how divine justice differs from retaliation. Your energy is needed for revenge. All that is needed for divine justice is your alignment. Getting revenge helps you stay in touch with them. Everyone is set free by divine justice. Their dimension is where revenge functions. Above it, divine justice is at work. They're not being destroyed by you. Simply put, you are no longer supporting their delusions. You have to put in a great deal of work to maintain their fantasy. You are unaware of the amount of effort you are putting into preserving their secrets, upholding their reputation, preserving their image, and permitting their deceit. They're having to use their own energy now that you've taken it away, and they don't have enough. They are cosmically indebted, spiritually overdrawn, and energetically impoverished. Technology is just the tip of the iceberg. Indeed, their digital traces are being made public. Indeed, their online identities are disintegrating. Indeed, they're facing opposition from their algorithms. However, technology is just a means to an end. At the soul level, the true exposing is taking place. They're auditing their spiritual contracts. They're summoning their karmic obligations. Forces they don't even think exist are looking into their energetic scam. Cosmic courts are reviewing the soul bargains they broke. Universal law is processing the spiritual pacts they violated. Divine wisdom is analyzing the energy links they broke. They are unable to see the dimensions in which the whole judicial system operates. They are also losing all of their cases. Your reality is now being amplified by every appeal, move to dismiss, every platform they utilize to disparage you. All of the networks they used against you are now on your side. They are replacing each broken connection with a better one. Not via divine arrangement, cosmic orchestration, global justice, or your manipulation. The intriguing aspect of their present situation is how well planned it is. The escalation, the sequence, the moment. Witnessing a symphony of justice is like that. Every exposure builds upon the one before it. Every revelation relates to the one before it. For maximum effect, each fact was presented at the precise time. The storyline is the universe's undoing as they have evolved into great storytellers. Now the watched are the watchers. The judges are now the ones being judged. The executed are now the executioners. Via visibility, not via violence. Their worst punishment is just being recognized for who they really are. For them, appearance was everything. Their strength lay in perception. Both are now breaking down in real time. Like shattered holograms, their meticulously constructed personalities are malfunctioning. Their long-worn masks have bonded to their faces, causing them to uncomfortably peel off, removing flesh in the process. Their characters are revolting against them and will no longer perform. They are being abandoned even by their own imaginations. The only thing you need to do is keep up your frequency. Remain true to yourself. Continue on your route. Whether you participate, the exposure will still occur. Whether you are involved or not, the revelation will come to light. With or without your consent, justice will be served. 5. Since this goes beyond personal grudges, this adjustment is universal. The most difficult aspect for them to manage is really maintaining your frequency. In spite of their disarray, you remain consistent. Maintain steadiness in the face of their fear. even as they try to disturb your tranquility. In their universe, you've turned into an immovable object, a constant that throws off all of their variables, and a fixed point they can't change. What you discover during your darkest hours is going to be revealed to them. That everything concealed is revealed. That all secrets have a time limit. That there is a half-life to every untruth. No matter how deeply buried it is, that truth eventually comes to light. They're going to go through what you went through. However, they lack your strength. They are not connected to the source as you are. You don't have your heavenly support for them. Your sense of seclusion was a prelude. Your sense of abandonment was fortification. Initiation was the betrayal you experienced. In reality, every painful incident served as a training ground for this. For maintaining calm when they're in a panic, for keeping rooted while they are in a downward spiral, for standing still as their world falls apart. You are not spiritually circumventing the protection you have. Toxic optimism isn't it. It is the inevitable result of being in harmony with reality. Deception cannot adhere to you when you are vibrating at the frequency of sincerity. Human manipulation loses significance when one operates from a divine aim. Earthly resistance turns into amusement when you have the support of entities beyond this plane. The forces guarding you are very old. They predate this planet, this solar system, and this realm. Refusing to break has ignited something primeval, something that has been longing for this time, for someone powerful enough to be this bridge between dimensions, to anchor this truth, and to hold this frequency. They're now really irritated because of this. Their typical strategies aren't working. In situations when everyone can see plainly, gaslighting is ineffective. When awareness is raised, manipulation is impossible. When the truth is in, deception cannot last. They are attempting to wage a new battle with outdated weaponry. Tactics in 3 dimensions in a multifaceted conflict. They have an outdated arsenal. Their strategy is out of date. Their tactics are no longer effective. While you're shielded by force fields, they are engaged in swordplay. You're running satellites, and they're firing arrows. You're running space stations, and they're digging trenches. It is impossible to bridge the technical divide between their spiritual stagnation and your spiritual growth. Your vindication's worldwide reach isn't a coincidence. It's in proportion. The truth spreads more widely the larger the falsehood they told. You climb higher the deeper they try to bury you, and the more they try to keep you apart, the closer you become. Spiritual physics is what this is. Cosmic law is this. This is the math of God. This justice's mathematical accuracy is astounding. There is an equal and opposite response to every action. The energy grew as it returned to its source. Every aim has exponentially more consequences. Their own energy is being magnified and reflected back to them. Additionally, they're unable to cope with the reverberation of their own betrayal, the frequency of their own anger, and the vibration of their own deceit. Authentic material is becoming to be prioritized by every platform's algorithm. Genuine involvement is becoming to be measured by every indicator. All systems are adjusting to the reality, not due to an update. Because mankind is improving, awareness itself is also evolving. Because the outdated deceptive worldview is fading. What they believe to be helpful artificial intelligence is now working against them. Their deployed bots aren't working properly. Their manipulation is being exposed by the automatic mechanisms they depended on. Because AI is developing more quickly than they are, even their technical minions are turning their backs on them. Furthermore, truth always prevails over deceit in development. This change isn't simply something you're seeing. The process that causes it includes you. The code was altered by your unwillingness to crack it. The algorithm was changed by your emphasis on truth. The matrix was reprogrammed by your unwavering commitment to sincerity. You are more than a mere survival. For the new paradigm, you are a system administrator, a debugger, and an updater. Their deception mechanisms failed in a cascade due to your presence in the system. Like a software that only removes erroneous information, a virus that only targets falsehoods, or a code that only carries out justice. Programming was not a requirement. The software became you. You are not required to be computer savvy. You turned into the technology. They will attempt to apologize shortly, but not out of regret, but out of fear. They want to control the story, so they will try to make amends. Not because they have changed. Their goal in reaching out with olive branches is to prevent the exposure, not to promote peace. Professionals will write the apologies, have them evaluated by attorneys, and have publicists endorse them. However, energy is truthful, and even in their purported surrender, everyone will sense the manipulation, calculating, and hollowness. Through the apology itself, they will express regret for their actions while also repeating them. However, human intervention is too late. Now, this process is moving along on its own. This discovery has its own timetable. There is a time frame for this justice. Furthermore, none of it calls for your involvement or consent. Your role has already been fulfilled. The line was held by you. You stuck to the facts. You made it through the assault. The remainder may now be left to the cosmos. The case has been taken up by the universe. You're not the plaintiff anymore. The proof is you. The prosecution is no longer you. The evidence is you. Justice is no longer what you're after. Justice is you. The verdict is now your very existence. The punishment is now your survival. Your flourishing has turned into the application of judgment. The totality of divine justice is its beauty. It pays attention to details. It doesn't ignore relationships. It remembers the participants. You are not addressing everyone who contributed to your attempted destruction via your own grudge, cosmic correction, global balance, or divine reconciliation of accounts. Participants who are quiet are also being addressed. Those who did nothing except observe. Those who knew yet said nothing. Those who had the option to assist but opted for solace. Now, they're all experiencing it. The cost of their timidity, the weight of their quiet, and the weight of their collaboration. Divine justice is not limited to those who are actively involved. It also talks about the passive facilitators. The effects are already being felt by a few of them. Strange diseases that are inexplicable to medical professionals. Unexpected and illogical losses. Unreasonably failing relationships. Chances are vanishing into thin air. It's referred to as poor luck. You are more knowledgeable. They send you home with interest accrued, and it's the same spirit. They're dealing with very lyrical medical riddles. The same inexplicable sensations you had throughout their vigorous onslaught. The same enigmatic aches you experienced throughout their rites. The same unexplained fatigue you felt while they were depleting your vitality. However, they lack your spiritual defenses. Your supernatural protection is not with them. Your cosmic insurance does not apply to them. Your current level of protection is not short-term. The divine has stamped you as untouchable, thus it's permanent.